Hi, loved ones. It is good to be with you all again on this Tuesday evening. I am sunburned because I got to go to an exercise class that was social distancing, CDC friendly, outdoors in a parking lot of my friend Melissa's gym, Granite. And we got to do an exercise class all with other people, again, like 10 feet apart, but it was wonderful. So I am so thankful. Thank you, Melissa, for just inviting me to come. And next time I will wear sunscreen. But trying something new and opening ourselves up to new and different experiences that are foreign to what we're used to is what we are going to be talking about tonight in our daily devotional. So, how many of you are creatures of habit like me? All of us. It's human nature. So I have a gym that I love so much, and I know everything about the gym. I have the system down. It's Orange Theory Fitness. I fell in love with gyms because of my friend Lindsay Sigelke in Golden, Colorado. And so I found out that there was an Orange Theory in Billings, and I was like, I have to go to this one because it's comfortable and it's my ritual, and I just love it. Well, with COVID right now, Orange Theory is closed because that's the safest thing for them to do with the particular method and techniques, kind of science behind Orange Theory. They can't have a parking lot class, but other gyms who have classes and kind of Zumba sort of cardio classes can. So I had a decision to make when my friend Melissa invited me to try something new that was out of my comfort zone and was different. I could have said no. I could have said that I would prefer to just stay doing nothing or doing my at-home workouts, which really aren't that great. Stay away from a new wonderful experience because I was maybe scared. Or I could show up, make some new friends, learn a new thing, and enjoy myself. And I am so, so glad that I did the latter today, even though, again, sunscreen's important. So the Israelites, they also were at a crossroads of this invitation to do a new thing. In the book of Numbers chapter 13, Moses, their leader, had been appointed by God to deliver the Israelites out of the hands of their oppressors, the Egyptians. And they had. God had taken care of them. God had heard their cry. The Lord had taken them out of Egypt and slavery, and they were on their way to the promised land. It was so exciting. And this is what they had prayed for and they had asked for. And all of a sudden, they were at this crossroads where it was like, oh my gosh, we're about to do something new. Like all these people had known was slavery, but they knew that they wanted to be free, and they knew that it would be better to be free, and that God was going to give them the promised land, the land flowing of milk and honey, but they're at a crossroads. So Moses, we will see, sends out spies to go and see what's going on in the promised land. Let's read Numbers 13 together. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, send some men to spy out the land of Canaan, from which I am giving the people of Israel. From each tribe of their fathers you shall send a man, every one a chief among them. So Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said to them, go up into the Negeb and go into the hill country and see what the land is, and whether the people who dwell in it are strong or weak, whether there are few or many, and whether the land that they dwell in is good or bad, whether the cities that they dwell in are camps or strongholds, and whether the land is rich or poor, whether there are trees in it or not. Be of good courage and bring some of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the season of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and spied out of the land of the wilderness of Zin and Rehob, near Lebo Hamath. Then they went up to the Negeb and came to Hebron. Animan, Sheshi, and Talmi, the descendants of Anak, were there. And they came to the valley of Eshcol and cut down a branch with a single cluster of grapes, and they carried it on a pole between the two of them. They also brought some pomegranates and figs. This place was called the Valley of Eshcol because of the cluster of the people of Israel cut down from there. This was the report of the spies. At the end of the 40 days, time of testing, they returned from spying out of the land. And they came to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the people of Israel in the wilderness of Paran and Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told them, we came to the land to which you sent us. It does flow with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. However, the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the cities are fortified and very large. And besides, we saw the descendants of the Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the Negeb. The Hittites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the hill country. And the Canaanites dwell in the sea along the Jordan. But Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and occupy it, for we are well able to overcome it. Then the men who had gone up said, we are not able to go up against those people, for they are stronger than we are. So they brought to the people of Israel a bad report of the land that they had spied out, saying, the land through it, which we have gone to spy out, is a land that devours its inhabitants. And the people that we saw in it are of great height. They're giants. And there we saw the sons of the Anak, and we seemed like grasshoppers compared to them in their size. Then all the congregation raised a loud cry, and the people wept at night. They wept all night. And all the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron, their leaders. The whole congregation said to them, Would that we have died in the land of Egypt. We should have just died in Egypt in slavery or died in the wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us into this land to fall by the sword? All of our little ones and wives will become prey. Would it not be better for us to go back to Egypt and slavery? And then they said to each other, let us choose a leader to go back to Egypt. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation and the people of Israel. Okay. Crazy town. So these people, guys, knew that the Lord was for them, knew that they were going to get to do a new thing, to be free people in this promised land. God was going to deliver them. They had seen miracles. The hands of God, the power of the Lord was with them. And all of a sudden, they let fear overtake them. And it devoured them. And there was grumbling, and there was gossiping, and there was complaining. And all they wanted to do was go back to the old, comfortable way of doing things, which was ironically what was enslaving them in the first place. So, how does this text apply to our lives now? You might ask. So many ways. Right now, we are at a crossroads with COVID-19. There are so many blessings that are coming out of this pandemic, and we need to open our eyes to what new things the Lord is doing at this time. What is the Holy Spirit teaching us? What is Jesus revealing to us? What things are working and what ministry is powerful now that we need to take with us into the future? I hear so often from people, and I understand where they're coming from, but I hear so often, I can't wait to just go back to exactly the way things were. I want to go back to normal. We are never going back to normal. We aren't. We are going to be able to take some of the things back with us, but there is going to be a new normal that we are going to go forward into the future, paving a new path. And I don't want us to be afraid of that. I don't want us to see that as an evil thing or a negative thing. I understand ritual and tradition just like everyone else. And there are things about rituals and traditions that I think are powerful, that are amazing, that have withstood the test of time, things like communion and wherever two or more gathered as church and worship and prayers of the people, the importance of lamenting and crying before the Lord and being honest, all those things are wonderful. But there's going to be so many new things that we have a choice on whether we want to engage in and dive in with and be open to, or resist and rebuke and complain and dig our heels in and decide that the old way of doing things, the only way we've ever done things, is the only way to do things. There have been so many things that we have been asking ourselves before this pandemic of how are we called to be the church? How are we called to fulfill the mission of God, to make disciples of all nations, to transform people's hearts? How are we supposed to be the church in this age where pretty much no one believes in God? There's a lot of nuns or non-religious. What are we supposed to do? And we have been given an opportunity to do church, to do worship, to do ministry in a new creative ways. But we've got to lean into it. We've got to trust that God is not going to leave us or forsake us. And that those giants of fear, that unknown, that uncertainty, that portion of, bit of uncomfortable feeling that we get when we're not really sure because it's not the way we've always done things, we've got to let those things go. So I feel like, and I know all of my clergy colleagues, it doesn't even matter what denomination, we are all feeling like Moses and Aaron a lot of the days, that we are trying to be faithful, that we are trying to go and lead to where God is calling us to go, that we are continuing to do ministry with our body, with our congregants, with our communities, and we are in a lot of ways doing ministry more powerfully than we ever have before in this time. There's so many good, positive things, but we have a choice. We can either decide to go right back where we were, forget any of this ever happened, just go right back to what we were doing, which wasn't working, or we can go into the future with eyes open that God is a God that is always doing a new thing. We are a God and a people of new things, new experiences, creativity, innovation, wonderful ideas. And we are not a people of fear. Fear is not of God. So my prayer to you all tonight, as your Moses or Aaron or Miriam, is that you would pay attention to the wonderful promised land things that are happening. Where's the milk and honey that is flowing in this time, in the ministry you're doing, in the relationships you're cultivating, in the things that you are seeing our churches doing? And what do we get to take with us into the new future, into the new frontier? Because if we go back, we are going to be going back to old ways that not only don't serve us, but they bind us and they don't allow others to come in. I love you all. This is hard. I want you to just know that I see this is taking all of us believers, all of us churchgoers, all of us faithful Christians, so much patience, so much perseverance and endurance and positive attitudes. And trust me, I am right there with you. This is hard. But God is teaching us so much in this time. And I don't want to have our blinders on, and I don't want us to bow down to the idolatry of tradition and ritual and comfort, that we stop paying attention to what's happening around us and within us. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.